Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi.
Live with another coach, another transformational expert who is changing lives one by one. So, welcome to our show. And Max, I
Thank
know
you.
you're in Ottawa, Canada. And we do these shows because we want other people to learn from other people's mistakes or advice, either way.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that I'm the niche navigator and I'm a little late. Usually I start at 9 Central. Today I'm a little late because I have a grandson and we have a family emergency. But the show must go on, so here we are. So thank you so much, Anne, for being so patient with us. And let's talk about you. So, how are you? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
How am I? I'm fine, like everyone else going through this pandemic. I'm fearful and afraid, and I have my moments, but I'm getting used to it, and there's really nothing else you can do. And when I look back on my life, seeing what I've done, I realize I do have the strength to get through this, just like I had the strength to get through everything else. So I have to use that strength and be positive and optimistic and try to make the best of everything.
That's
at
awesome.
this particular time. Yes.
So this is the same attitude you bring to your clients because that's why you transform them, right?
That's right. Yeah, everything always positive. Everything always positive. I am a productivity and transformation coach, trainer, speaker, and consultant. I've been in the business world for over 40 years. I'm only 39, but I've been in the business world for over 40 years.
Awesome.
And I have been in the retail, corporate, private sector. I have an awful lot of experience doing what I do. And what I did several years ago, which was 20 years ago, I realized yesterday, 21 years ago, is I started my own company using all those skills that I had acquired in the 20 years before. I've gone through quite a bit in my life. I was married at 19 and widowed at 24 with a 2-year-old who's now 50. And so that was number one in my life. And I was a naive 19-year-old, just, at a university. And we got married early in those days. I'm a little older than a lot of people here. So we got married a lot earlier. So that sort of threw me for a loop. And I came back to Ottawa. My father got me a job at the Ottawa Citizen newspaper, and I was there for 10 years. And during that time, I remarried. And I made my second sort of mistake, shall we say, when I remarried and I married the top divorce lawyer in Ottawa. Now, that's just fine if you feel that your marriage is going to, continue on in a positive vein. However, that did not happen. And 22 years later, we divorced. We had another child. She's 40 years old. She's a midwife. And what happened during that time was I was very, very unhappy. But I'd gone through all this stuff when I was younger, with my first child. And I thought, I don't want to go through it again, financially, emotionally, everything. I can't get a divorce because look what I'm going to do to her. And, it's whatever. So I stuck it out for 22 years. And during that time, my self-esteem went down to this. And I remember the day that we split, and I said to my ex now, you have taken everything from me, and you're not getting this. Now, he didn't take it from me. I allowed him to take it from me because I didn't know who I was, where I was going, what I was doing. I was the type of person, and there's a lot of us, who was responded to other people's needs all the time, but I never really knew what I wanted. So what happened as a result of this is I decided 20 years ago to start a business that would help women to do that, and to only help women, because we tend to be the caregivers. And of course, in my day, women weren't working as many jobs as they are now, and they certainly weren't in businesses. But we are awesome, but we have to learn who we are, where we're going, what we're doing, how we're going to get there, and how we're going to be productive. So as a result of everything happening with, the death when I was 24, the divorce, after the divorce,
Have a
my
few
ex-husband
minutes of
called me
technical
and
difficulty.
pardon me?
We have, I feel like you're stuck. Go ahead, go ahead.
No, you are stuck. Yes, sorry. It is the technology.
Yes.
We went through several other things. We had to get, we went bankrupt. My ex-husband called me a couple of years after and said, we have to go bankrupt because you're still signed on and blah, blah, blah. So I had that to contend with. I went through very many ups and downs and a lot of burnouts. So I eventually had to take 3 months off and really get hold of myself. So it took me quite a while to realize what I had to do to make my life better and how I could help others do so. So the basis of what I do, which is Productive to the Max, is I work with women who are stuck, who are starting a business, or who have been in the business, say 2 or 3 years, and are just starting to move up and just don't know where they're going, and they don't know how to get there, and they don't feel motivated. And that happens to us all the time. And what we do is we sit down and talk about, who are you? Where are you now? What are you doing? How are you going to get there? And how are you going to be productive? So that's me sort of in a bit of a nutshell.
Awesome. Thank you. You know, what you did was you brought it to perspective for me, because I was just talking to my friends yesterday, is that, I was in a similar situation. I just lost my husband last year.
Right.
And now it's like one after the other, one of the children need me, and then I just go plug myself in and help out. And I really am, although they are adults and they need me and I'm their mother, and I know what effect mothers can have, I am getting burnt out for the fact that I don't want to be caregivers anymore. I want to go spoil my grandkids and leave when I feel like, that's the gist of it. I don't want to go and plug into help. I think that's what I'm feeling. And my friend sent me a book name, and of course I can't remember right now, but she sent me a name and she goes, read that, it's going to help you. But either way, see, you've done it. You're helping women overcome that. I see it in my life and I see it in other women. And we just tend to keep plugging ourselves into whatever other people need us to do. And we need to draw a line. And I've decided that I'm drawing a line. And after this episode here, is when I go home, is like when I feel like doing something, I will do it. Otherwise, I'm doing whatever I should be doing for my business or for myself, because it's all about self-care. And I think the babying has to stop, right? So that's wonderful, right? I mean, but it's unfortunate that we learn after we've been burnt out, right?
Yes, I was going to say to you that you are being reactive with it instead of proactive. And what happens when we're reactive with it is we react to the point that we burn out. It builds up. We get ticked off and ticked off and ticked off, and this instead of knowing right at the basis what our values are, what we want to do, what we're going to do. And it can be just 3 major goals. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. And the awareness of those at all times. So post them all around, tell people what you're going to do. And the minute something happens, you know the answer. Awareness, productivity is all about awareness and communication.
True,
and if you are aware of what you want and why you're going to do it, how you're going to say no, and all those other things, then when someone says something to you, you will respond in the manner with which you should respond. But we're doing it reactively, and that's what happens.
You know, a coach like you is so important in other people's life, because what they do is they help you to not be reactive but be
That's
proactive,
right.
right? Exactly. And so this is what we want to learn. So you talk about life episodes, bankruptcy, you talk about divorce, you talk about death, you talk about all of these things, children too. What about those people? How do they feel if you are an entrepreneur and you feel burnt out? Why does burnout happen if you're an entrepreneur?
Mhm.
And how does somebody overcome that?
So when you're an entrepreneur, what happens, you see, with an entrepreneur is we are a specific type. We're not working at a a government job or a banking job for a reason. It's boring, right? We're creative. We're clever. We want to do things and make things. So as a result, we are not as I'm not going to say centered, but we really don't stay in one place as much as we should. And we have to do that. We have to learn that this is what we want to do with the three goals, whatever it is. This is what our life is going to be about. And we can't get sidelined by the shiny objects or the jumper Jane syndrome, what I call. But as an entrepreneur, we tend to do so. Oh, look at that. That's so interesting. I'm going to go over there. What also happens is that as an entrepreneur, we're interested in a lot of other things except for what we should be doing in our business. So we know we should be doing this, right? So the shiny ball is fine. Somebody comes down the corridor, or somebody comes down the house. Oh my goodness, I don't feel like doing this. Let's have a chat. You look at the window and you see roses, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, summer's coming. I think I better order some roses. We do everything but what we should be doing. And one of the biggest issues is, here I'm on my self stand.
Hello?
We froze again?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's okay.
One of the biggest issues is that we tend to take every course imaginable, take every webinar imaginable, pay fortunes, and never use it. And
why is that? Why is that we do
why
that?
is that? We're afraid. We're afraid. We self-sabotage. Women self-sabotage. I can't. What happens if I get busy? What happens if I become famous? It's I can feel it in my chest. I can't do it. I'm not worth it. I'm saying all these things. I'm creating this wonderful course, and I'm coaching all these people, and really they're going to find out sometime that I'm really not as good as I really don't have it, because we do that. Women always self-sabotage. I do it all the time, and I've been in business 40 years. I still do it. Now I know why I do it, and very often it goes back to your childhood. And you might need a shrink, like I had to get a shrink after everything that happened to me, right? But it's the self-sabotage, it's the fear of working so hard but not knowing how to do so many things, and it's overwhelming. You've got marketing, you've got HR, you've got product, you've got all that social media. It's just too much to do. So what you need is a plan. First of all, you need to know what your values are. Like you're saying, what your ethics are, what your values are, what your roles are, what you have to do, right? And then what you need to do is you need to set a plan for every aspect of your business, because everything's in our head. So we get up in the morning and we think, oh, social media is going to take me 2 hours, and I got to do this, and I got to use my knife, and they don't even have it written down. So your head is using up this wonderful real estate that should be used for creativity and for completing things. So a plan, a written plan, and ways to follow it, ways to deal with obstacles, ways to reward yourself just for saying, hey, I'm going to do a plan, and trying to establish productivity principles that will keep you focused on what you're doing.
So going back to what you said earlier, you said 3 goals. Why are you always picking on 3 goals?
3 is in productivity. 3 is the number that is the safest number for everybody to complete.
I see.
3 to-dos a day. 3 major major goals a day, but 3 little to-dos. 3 seems to be the palatable number that you don't get bored after of. Now
Okay.
that was a good sentence, wasn't it?
No, but
I
that's
didn't
no,
listen.
but that's the thing, right? Because so a few things that you touched on. You said you have so many things in your list. One of the things that one of my mentors has taught me is, have a not to do list. What
Have
I
a
do
large
not,
to-do,
a not
a not to do. I think that's the best idea in the world.
yeah, so just I am not going to do this, I'm not going to do this. So if you have, like for me, right, I'm not going to be a caretaker anymore. I'm going to go, I know what I want to do, but I also know what I don't want to do. So if you take away what I don't want to do, then you don't have any excuses, right?
Yes.
So
And
that's
that's what you do. So that's based on what do you really want to do? Yeah. And what don't you want to do? Yeah. Best thing to
okay.
have.
So that's number one. Then what you said was you have real estate and entrepreneurs. We are entrepreneurs. We are a breed of these people who are creative, right?
Mhm.
And what you said is that we have the creativity here, but we're not using enough real estate. And
Right.
that's sad, right? That's very sad.
Oh, it's so sad because it is what really gets you going. It is what rewards you. It is where you want to go. You don't want to do all those little to-dos. You want to do them creatively, but you
Okay.
don't want to have to do them. And that's all you see in your mind is a list,
So you have a to-do list, a plan. This
an
is
action
what
plan.
the plan is.
Yeah.
Now, do you make so I'm now pulling, I know I'm pulling from your teachings, but I just want the idea. Do you make a plan for a year and then you cut it in chunks to make goals? Or how do you do it? How do you tell?
So we have an action plan. People who work with me, we have an action plan. And we set up, there's a page for each part of your business and for personal things too. So there's a page for each, and the plan has the goal. The goal is broken down into 3 tasks that you have to do. With the deadlines, we have a column for obstacles because we know that you're going to be a procrastinator, or maybe you're, there's all kinds of things that prevent us from doing things. So perfectionist, procrastinator. So we put a line for obstacles, and we put a line for a column for when you complete it, and a column for what you're going to reward yourself with, things like that. So it's hard copy. It's literally printed out, and you follow it on a regular basis. And that forms your to-do list, essentially. Not your little to-do with all the little, call the dentist and do that, not that kind of thing, but your to-do list for your business. Because productivity is about having everything in one spot, and then you're not missing anything. But if you're disorganized, or if you don't have, files for things, you don't have it anywhere. So then you walk into your office and you say, well, I've got to do a coaching session with Susie today. And, I'm going to go take a look at her file and update myself so I sound like I know what I'm talking about. But you know what? It's such a mess in here. I can't find Susie's file. So even the basic things are not there. So that all needs to be done. You need to be organized. You need to have a system for email and incoming information, so you don't have 64,000 emails showing in your inbox. And then you have the systems to do this planning and to do the actions. Does that make sense?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. And I'm asking you this because I am part of that
I know you are.
real estate that
Yeah.
keep you procrastinating. So I like the plan and the goal for 3. Now, is that something that is a daily plan for personal and everything on one page written out? But this is a daily plan for every single day. Every day you have
Well, it's the overview of what you're going to be doing, and then you update the plan as things change. So with coaching, if we coach once a week, we will update the plan once a week, right? And then we'll talk about why did this work, why didn't this work. And what happens is, as I mentioned before, productivity is about awareness. And I find that after the first visit, after the first session with my clients, they start to see that they're seeing things that they were doing that they could be doing better. And they see it right away because it's physically in front of them.
See, and that's the thing is, right? Because if the other day I met this guy and I told him something and he goes, so let it be written. And I said, so then it shall be done. I mean, this is a biblical thing. Even, Ramses used to say that, of course, he was Ramses. But, let it be written, so then it shall be done.
Right.
And that's the thing. So if you follow that principle and get it down, right? I have been thinking, last year, I made a plan that I was going to do a Facebook Live every single day.
Yeah.
My problem has become that the year started with my daughter being in the hospital, and I have 3 little ones. All of a sudden, now I'm a mother to 3 little grandchildren who are running around and driving me nuts. I mean, I could do it, but I don't like the noise because it doesn't allow me.
Yeah, we're not used to the noise.
And I am aging in my own way. So
I'm still 39.
Yeah, I know. So but it's still aging, and I age every day. I tell my grandkids I age every day, but the thing is, they are little ones, and they need. I mean, I was up playing memory game with one of them this morning at 4:30 in the morning. So, I have time right now, and the thing is, I'm doing all this because I know my daughter needs me, but this isn't going to be forever, right?
No.
She's going to be well. She's coming home in a few days, and then everything's going to be kind of stagnant to where I have a little bit more time.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't stopped doing my show. I'll do it a little later, but I'll do my show. But it's consistency. It's doing it, writing the plan down, doing 3 things. And I'm sure, like you said, 3 things are easier done. What's the last piece of advice that you want our listeners to take from here?
Well, once you start I think the biggest bit of advice, and there's tons of advice you can get with productivity, is there's certain basic principles that you need to follow. And one of them is the Pareto Principle, which is the 80-20. So you need to spend 20% of your time on whatever is going to bring you an 80% return.
Okay.
Instead of spending 80% of the time on what is going to bring you a 20% return. And we, as entrepreneurs, tend to spend 80% of the time on what is going to bring us a 20% return, because we have no faith in ourselves and we don't know how to do it, and blah, 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 blah. So if you keep that in your mind, put it on your whiteboard. I advocate a whiteboard. Obviously, I advocate, things that are more written than a lot of people do these days. But so that the 20% is going to bring you an 80% return, you have to find where that 20% relates in your business. So in my business, it would be, I would have to do marketing. Marketing is the 20%. So I'm going to put on my calendar every day or every 3 days. You don't have to do things every day. A block of time, 20% of my day, that will bring me an 80% return. And it's in there all the time. And then I'm going to work everything else around it.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is take that one thing that you're going to do and be good at it. And then everything else rotates around it, not this, that, and the other. And you perfectly put it in perspective, because one time I heard one of the mentors out there, I have many, he said, he says, we have a course. It's the best course. We had to create another one that was better, right, than the best course, because we know that people who haven't finished the first best course will go and get the second best course because they want to know what's in there. And chances are they'll never finish the second one.
Never finish. 90% never finish.
Yeah, if we have a third one, they'll spend the money to buy the third one as well. Yeah. So that's what, keeping in perspective of what you've said, is don't do that. right? We all have enough courses in our back office, in our toolboxes, where we don't want to create more than we need. We all have to do is just take what we have,
Mhm.
refine, define, reassess, and repurpose, right?
That's right. And start small.
And start small.
Start small. So not, we're not gonna do social media every day. We're gonna do it once a week. I did that. I started that way. Once a week. I did it once a week, got it going, fiddle around because it's always changing and I'm not a techie. And then I built it up to 3 days a week or 4 days a week. Don't do any more than you have to. Do it well, do it deep, do it really consciously, and then get it done and then go on to something else. We can't multitask. Multitasking does not work.
Even though we're women?
Yeah, well, unless you're holding 3 babies on your hip and that kind of multitasking we've got to do. But it is not good for your brain. Your brain doesn't like it. It takes you a long time to transfer the information from one to the other. You lose time. So, watch what you multitask with.
I
It
would love to
doesn't.
continue, but on basis of time, I want to ask you,
Yeah.
can you tell me how people can find you?
Well, the company name is Productive to the Max. So you can go to the website, www.productivetothemax.com. The phone number is on there also. I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook group. I'd love you to join. I have a Facebook page and a personal Facebook, but the group and the page are what I use for business. So I'm available all over. And I'd love to have anybody connect. I also offer a free consultation for half an hour. So
Awesome.
we have a chat. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, see, here's the thing. Transformation, it comes with being productive, comes with consistency, it comes with doing one thing very well. But that one thing has to have 3 goals. Remember the 3.
Three.
Those steps have to work, right?
Yeah.
It has to work. And here we have a seasoned person who has worked in corporate America, who's worked at her own business, who has transformed her own life to make things better for her. So why not? Why not do this for yourself? You know, as I know we're 11 days into the new year and we want to sit down and think about, we have to get this going. Take a step back right now and think about where you are. And if you're doing the same things again, then we don't want to be like what Einstein said, doing the same things and not having the same result.
Yeah.
Is like, a definition of insanity.
That's
So
right.
don't do that. Take a step back. Maybe you have to decrease what you're doing or change it up a little bit. But take a moment and use the remaining 20 days that we have left to figure out where you're going from here. Because we want this year, like last year, we wanted that year to be wonderful, but then COVID hit. But this year, we want this year to be better than last year. Those people who pivoted and changed and created some time for themselves have taken their business to the next level. But what I'm asking you is do this on your own. If you can't do this, then find a coach. People like Anna here to help you. And especially if you're a woman and you think you can handle it all, she says you can't. So, well, unless you're having 3 babies on your head, right? But don't do that, right? Because we need our brain cells. There's a lot of people counting on us. There's you counting on you. So do this for yourself. Take a step back, enjoy the productivity that your brain wants to give you, and empty the real estate. You have it, like you heard her. I'm not going to repeat what she said, but the thing is, empty the real estate and find new compartments in your brain to add new stuff, right? If you like this show, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, because next week we will bring you another guest with new advice, and they're going to share their productivity secrets and their secrets to their niche. What we are trying to do is help you get better ourselves. Thank you, Anne. I appreciate
Thank you very much.
appreciate you very much. Thank you so much and have a good day.
You too.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group.